Chosen one, it all starts quietly. Today, get ready. There are moments when heaven moves in silence, when the great unfolding does not announce itself with trumpets, but tiptoes in, so softly that only the spiritually alert can sense the shift. Today is one of those moments. The divine orchestration has begun. And you are not only part of it, you are the reason for it. What begins quietly today will echo loudly in the days to come. You've entered the moment before the miracle, the hush before the heavens erupt with confirmation. Stay until the very end of this message. Within this video lies a transmission meant specifically for you. And write your warmest wishes in the comments, along with the number 777 to energize the universe with your light. This isn't just participation, it's prophecy in action. Wishes spoken in faith ripple into the cosmos and return multiplied. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. Everything about today may seem ordinary. The sun rose just as it always does. The clock ticked just as it always does. But spiritually, profoundly, a door has opened that few can see. You are not in an ordinary space anymore. Something ancient, something sacred has begun to flow toward your name. And the way it begins is not with noise, but with a whisper, with a signal, with an invisible invitation from God Himself saying, "It starts now." The world often looks for grand signs, but God doesn't always shake the ground to get your attention. Sometimes He moves mountains in the background while your eyes are still focused on what seems still. Today may feel still to you, but everything behind the curtain of the natural is moving. Invisible threads are being pulled. Alignments are being orchestrated. You are being positioned perfectly for the reveal that's coming. There's a silence today that carries weight. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of divine preparation. The kind of quiet that hovers before a life-changing announcement. The atmosphere around you is pregnant with power, even if your senses haven't fully caught up yet. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit knows. The vibration is shifting. The frequency is being tuned to favor your breakthrough. You didn't miss the sign. It's just that the sign came in disguise. It came in a phone call you didn't expect, in a sudden clarity you couldn't explain, in a calmness that visited you last night while everything around you was chaotic. That wasn't random. That was God telling you, get ready. God is not asking you to understand the entire path right now. He's only asking you to recognize the start. And this start is sacred. It's not loud because it's holy. It's not chaotic because it's divine. The spirit realm has declared motion. Heaven's hand has touched the wheel of your destiny. That's why your soul has been feeling stirred. That's why your heart is both calm and expectant. You can feel the unseen moving toward you. You've waited long enough for something external to shift. But today, it's your internal knowing that holds the power. You're not walking blind. You're walking boldly through a portal that has opened just for you. And it opens quietly because it is reserved. It is protected. It is intentional. This is the beginning of the days where your silence will speak louder than noise, where your stillness will be strength, where your waiting will be recognized by the divine. You are not being overlooked. You are being ushered in quietly, so that no opposition can block what's already been written in God's book concerning you. This isn't a delay. It's a deployment. This isn't confusion. It's calibration. God didn't forget you. He's finalizing you. And when something is being finalized by God, it doesn't need approval from anyone else. It doesn't need explanation. It doesn't even need applause. It just needs to be walked out in faith. Right now, you are carrying something sacred within. It's not visible yet. It's not loud yet. But it's forming. It's growing. And when it manifests, the world will understand why it had to begin in silence. This quiet beginning is your confirmation that God is handling your outcome. You've been sensing the need to separate, to withdraw, to realign, and that's not by accident. That's divine conditioning. God calls His chosen ones into stillness, not to silence them, but to strengthen their discernment. The quieter the external becomes, the clearer the internal voice grows. And it is that voice, your spiritual compass, that is guiding you to the next level. You don't need to broadcast your next move. The move is already happening. God is broadcasting it in the Spirit, and those who are tuned in will see you arrive in divine timing. You don't have to prove anything. What's meant for you is being magnetized to you now. There's a shift in your relationships too. People are being repositioned in your life, and some are being removed without conflict. That's part of the quiet movement. God doesn't always tear things apart loudly. Sometimes, He gently pulls you out of rooms that no longer serve you. Sometimes, He quietly exits people from your life so that your next chapter isn't interrupted by confusion. Chosen one, the silence is sacred. And right now, you are in the center of something holy. God is preparing a table, and the sound of the preparation may be silent to others. But to you, it's the sound of destiny approaching. That stirring in your spirit, that's the divine countdown. That sense that something is about to happen? You're right. Stay aligned. Stay sensitive. Today is not small. It is sacred. And everything that is sacred begins with silence. This is the kind of silence that precedes surprise. The kind of quiet that holds prophecy. The kind of stillness that contains fire. You are not being overlooked, forgotten, or delayed. You are being introduced into your next dimension quietly, because the volume of your value doesn't require external noise. You've been refined in private so that your rise can be recognized in divine time. Let the noise around you decrease. Let the inner stillness increase. Because it is in that stillness that God is giving you details, insight, and clarity. This is not the time to explain your moves. This is the time to make them, spiritually, calmly, boldly. Let others wonder. Let the process unfold. This is a sacred unveiling, not for the masses, but for the moment. Not for crowds, but for confirmation. God has decided. And when God decides, things move, even when they appear still. Right now, heaven is moving on your behalf, and soon earth will reflect that movement. This is the day that begins without announcement, but will be remembered for what it birthed. You are the vessel. You are the alignment. And what is starting now is too big to be rushed, too holy to be exposed too soon. The orchestration has begun, quietly, divinely, powerfully. And now, chosen one, as the quiet motion of today continues its sacred dance, you may find yourself wondering, why does it feel so serene when you know something monumental is happening? Because what God is doing in your life no longer needs dramatic signs. The shift has matured beyond spectacle. You have grown beyond needing loud affirmations. You are now in alignment with divine subtlety. The transformation underway is so deeply rooted in purpose that it does not announce itself. It unfolds layer by layer, moment by moment, without seeking validation. You've walked through enough storms to recognize when the air changes. You've cried prayers that pierced the night, and now you walk with a knowing. Not everything God does comes with thunder. Sometimes it comes as a whisper that says, "You're right where you need to be." That whisper is the voice of heaven resting on your shoulder, guiding your every step in this silent unveiling. There are things being rearranged around you that you cannot see yet. Conversations in rooms you haven't entered. Decisions being made that carry your name. Strategies unfolding that were designed in spiritual dimensions before you even knew what to ask for. And the reason you feel peace today, even in the unknown, is because your soul recognizes this movement. It remembers this frequency. This isn't the first time God has done something quiet and powerful for you. This is just the first time you've been spiritually conscious enough to feel it happening in real time. You've matured, chosen one. You've grown beyond reaction. You've evolved beyond needing physical proof. That's why today, though quiet, feels like fire in your bones. You're no longer driven by what you see. You're aligned with what you sense. And what you sense is the undeniable shift of something sacred opening up on your behalf. Don't underestimate the power of today just because it isn't dramatic. This kind of divine stillness holds more authority than the chaos that tried to break you. This kind of holy quietness carries a deeper energy than the noise of the world. The silence you're experiencing isn't empty. It's full of angelic activity, full of divine decrees, full of heavenly orchestration you can't yet articulate. There are whispers being exchanged between realms, whispers about you, whispers that carry weight, whispers that carry favor, whispers that carry answers. And when heaven whispers, nothing on earth can interrupt the message. It is sealed. It is sent. It is sacred. You may feel unusually detached from certain distractions today. That is not random. That is divine protection. God is shielding your mind from unnecessary noise so you can remain in tune with the frequency of what's birthing. You're not being antisocial. You're being anointed in silence. Your spirit is being filled, not with information, but with divine wisdom. Not with opinions, but with prophetic knowing. This is your moment of recalibration. And yes, you might feel like something big is about to break open, and you're absolutely right. But God doesn't want you to panic. He wants you to perceive. This isn't the season to chase signs. This is the season to walk in inner alignment. Everything you need is being provided, but it's coming through divine order, not through human manipulation. You are being reintroduced to yourself today through stillness. You are becoming acquainted with your spiritual authority, not by force, but by favor. Your feet are being guided in paths that don't yet make sense to your mind, but your spirit has already said yes. That's why you feel peace and power at the same time. That's why you feel weight and wonder in equal measure. That's why today doesn't need noise to feel meaningful. The presence of God and is resting on you in quiet glory. Do not underestimate what is being written in heaven right now concerning your name. What God is releasing to you cannot be touched by time, blocked by opposition, or delayed by people. The instructions were already given. The timing was already chosen. And now it is simply unfolding, in divine sequence, in divine stillness. People may not see your preparation, but they will witness your manifestation. They may not understand your silence, but they will witness your emergence. And when it happens, It will happen without explanation, because it was never about proving a point. It was about fulfilling a promise. Let today be the day you anchor into stillness as a spiritual strategy, not as a retreat, but as a readiness. Stillness does not mean inactivity. It means clarity. You are not passive right now. You are powerful. The silence around you is not emptiness. It is fullness, being incubated for release. God is whispering because you're finally close enough to hear. You've walked the road. You've passed the tests. You've held on when others let go. And now, the reward is beginning, not with claps, but with confirmation, not with noise, but with knowing. And when the noise does come, because yes, it will, it won't shake you, because you'll already be grounded in truth, because you've already heard the whisper, because you've already said yes to the calling. And when the sound comes, it will be the echo of a promise already fulfilled in the quiet. Get ready, chosen one, because what begins silently today will soon speak so loudly the world won't be able to deny it. Your name is being carved into the narrative of divine breakthrough. And that carving began with the quiet chisel of obedience, faith, and surrender. You are living inside a miracle in motion, and it started quietly today. As the hours of this day continue to unfold, chosen one, the quietness deepens, not into emptiness, but into intentionality. You are not merely passing through a still moment. You are passing through a supernatural chamber where God Himself is crafting the next lines of your destiny. He is doing it with precision. He is doing it with peace. And He is doing it in such silence that only those who know how to feel the wind without seeing the storm can truly understand what is taking place. The noise of the world has always tried to distract you. But today, the quiet is doing something different. It's making everything else fade into the background. Not because you've become numb, but because you've become spiritually awake. God is fine-tuning your sensitivity so that you no longer chase what's loud, but respond to what's real. And what's real right now is that something divine is being stirred under the surface of your life. You don't need validation for what you feel. You don't need permission to believe in what you've heard in your spirit. You are not imagining this shift. The change has already begun. The pieces that seemed disconnected are now being pulled together by divine force. That strange inner peace you've felt, that unusual sense of closure about certain things, that newfound clarity, even in the face of uncertainty, all of it is confirmation that today is not like other days. This is a spiritually coded day, a quietly sealed day. And because you are chosen, God did not want this beginning to be loud. He did not want it to be touched by too many hands or seen by too many eyes. He didn't want it to be shared too early or exposed too soon. Because when something is meant to shift atmospheres and change generations, it must first be protected in sacred silence. Think about how seeds grow. Not in sunlight first, but in soil. Not above ground, but below. Not in applause, but in darkness. That's how God is growing this beginning. That's how He's growing you. Underground, hidden, nourished in silence. Quietly breaking through layers of limitation while the world thinks nothing is happening. But oh, something is happening. You're no longer who you were. That identity was buried beneath the noise of the past. But now, the quiet has helped you remember. You remember your strength. You remember your origin. You remember who walked with you when nobody else did. You remember the whispered promises made in tears, in surrender, in lonely nights when God was the only one who understood the battle. And now? Now those whispers are becoming steps. Steps into a future that's already been paid for in full by your obedience. Steps into a season where you will no longer apologize for your anointing. Steps into a timeline that was always meant for you, even if it took longer than expected to arrive. Chosen one, today's silence is a sign. It is proof that heaven is working without the need to announce its every move. It is proof that God trusts you with the kind of stillness that scares most people. Because only those who are deeply anchored can stand in the middle of silence and still believe that something mighty is being formed. And you are anchored, not in pride, not in ego, but in divine knowing. You know that when God is about to do something historic, He often starts it in the most unassuming way. He hides it in a moment. He wraps it in obscurity. He releases it in a day that looks like every other, but isn't. You didn't stumble into this day. You were led here. This timing was not an accident. It was divine design. You were called into this silence because you're ready. You're ready to carry what's next. You're ready to wear what's never been worn in your bloodline. You're ready to steward what others would mishandle. You're ready to birth what God has been waiting for the perfect moment to release. And this is the moment. Let yourself be fully present in this stillness. Let yourself feel every part of this divine pause, because this pause is not stopping you. It's setting you. It's setting the foundation. It's setting the coordinates for a future you've only dreamed of. And when movement resumes, it will not return you to the same place. It will elevate you beyond recognition. You've already crossed a spiritual line, and though your surroundings may still look familiar, your spirit knows the landscape has changed. You've exited the wilderness of confusion and entered the corridor of confirmation.